Summer is here, and while we're finally getting out to do some outdoor activities, the reality is most of us are still in quarantine. If you're not currently in the middle of a mini home makeover, you probably feel claustrophobic, cramped, maybe even sick of your space. Those four walls are closing in more every day, but don't fret. I have another fun tips and tricks video for you. This time, it's all about making your small space feel larger. We're talking paint tips, furniture tricks, lights, do's and don'ts, and my favorite way to make a small space feel larger, making use of every inch of vertical height on your walls. But before we get right into it, please take a moment to give this video a thumbs up, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Let's jump right into it. Let's talk about paint. Take a look around your room right now and let me know if you have any crown molding. If you don't have any crown molding and the walls meet the ceiling, the best way to make that small space feel larger is to paint the walls and the ceiling the exact same color. If the walls and the ceilings are the same color, your eyes naturally will draw up from the walls onto the ceiling. There's no visual line break, therefore it makes the space seem larger. Now, if you have molding installed, from base molding to crown molding, one of the designer tricks I love to use is to paint the base, the walls, and the crown molding in one color, and paint the ceiling in a contrasting color, maybe something a little lighter to draw the eye up. Typical crown molding is installed on the walls to the ceiling, so it actually juts out to the ceiling about a couple of inches. If you paint your base molding, the walls, and the crown the same color, it actually looks as though that color is traveling up into your ceiling, therefore elongating the look of the walls and making your walls look taller than they really are. If that's just too much painting for you, you could paint the ceiling in a contrasting color, or if you're feeling fancy, just wallpaper the ceiling only. This method will add a fabulous dash of color and draws your eye up, injecting the room with color or pattern without sacrificing any space. Another trick I like to use is tone on tone. Tone on tone simply means your furniture and all of the decor and accessories in the space are the same tone as the color of your walls. Whether your walls are a darker color or a lighter hue, this allows the entire room to blend in and takes up a lot less visual space. It's kind of like a head-to-toe monochromatic look. For a petite girl like myself, it's actually one of my favorite tricks to make me look even taller. Another trick I like to use to make small spaces seem larger is to keep everything neutral. As much as I love a bold pattern and a lot of vibrant color, a lot of the times it can look too busy and feel cramped in a really small space. Whereas neutral rooms actually give your space a little bit more visual breathing room. You can also paint the room in a dark color and have contrasting light, bright white furniture in the space. A common design myth is that dark walls close everything in, but once you contrast it with light, bright white furniture, it actually makes the walls recede and the entire room appear larger than it is. So the trick is, if you have dark walls, don't anchor your bed with dark bedding as well. You want crisp white sheets to pop off in the space and make the whole room look larger. Moving on to furniture. I want you to look around in your living room right now. Is there a mishmash of a bunch of smaller pieces of furniture? Or is there only one large sofa and sectional to anchor the space? Opting for fewer, larger pieces actually makes the room look larger, versus having a lot of separate furniture pieces that make the room look more cramped. The best solution for your small space is to get a sectional. Sectionals can actually maximize every square inch of your living room versus a sofa and a set of chairs. Another visual trick I like to use is designing your space with see-through furniture. Instead of a wood or metal coffee table, try a glass or even lucite coffee table. Anytime you can see through furniture, it actually opens up space and visually makes everything look larger. Bonus points for a glass tabletop. Glass tops will bounce all of that beautiful natural light coming into your space and reflect it around the entire room. Another way to make your small space seem larger is with low back furniture. What does low back furniture mean? It simply means specifying sofas and chairs with low backs. In a traditional setting, you might see a high back wing chair or a camel backed sofa. Anything with tall backs automatically takes up half of the space already. So if you have a smaller space, look for clean modern lines in lower profiles. You also want to try furniture with legs to make your small space seem larger. Check out your sofa right now. Does your sofa have a base or a skirt underneath it? Since that piece of furniture is low to the ground, visually it'll take up more ground space. Instead of skirted sofas, you might want to try a sofa with really clean, modern legs. Sofas and chairs with tall, slim legs create more of an open feel, versus pieces that sit directly on the ground or have skirted bases. One of the most important designer tips for making your small space seem larger is to scale the furniture proportional to your space. If you have a teeny tiny living room, don't decorate it with huge pieces of furniture. And while you're at it, you need to get rid of that recliner stat. Upright, it might feel like nice and neat and tidy, but the minute you lay back, it's taking up so much space. Nothing feels more cramped than a chair that's taking up half of your space. Moving on to lighting. Lighting is a tricky one, especially if you feel as though you have to hire a professional to help you swap out some of these lights. But there are a multitude of options that you can DIY and help a small space feel larger. For instance, you can add wall sconces. I spoke about this topic before in decorating apartments. I love to clear as much surface space as I can, especially on a nightstand. So instead of having 2 large table lamps, you can install wall sconces instead. There are so many varieties out there where you can just hang them right on your wall and plug them in. You might see a little cord dangling down, so my advice is if you don't like that look for wall sconces that have a built-in arm. That actually conceals the cord and aesthetically becomes part of the entire look. You can also try flush mount lighting to make a small space seem larger. There's nothing impacting your line of sight and it visually just draws your eye up. You can also bring in really tall floor lamps, especially for those dark corners, and it will add that visual height you need to a space. But make sure you watch your proportions. In most cases, a low-hanging pendant light is going to make your space feel smaller and more cramped. You want to choose fixtures that feel light and draw the eye up. In this case, you want to look for see-through glass bulbs instead of a dark and heavy shade. And finally, let's make use of all of that vertical space. Look at the artwork that you have hanging up in your home. Is it hung too low? Even a few inches can make a huge difference. So with the help of a friend, I would actually move that single art piece higher on the wall, see if that lifts your eye up and makes a space feel even larger than it is. Another trick I like to use to make that small space feel larger is with one huge statement art piece instead. I know a lot of you have been commenting that statement art piece could be really expensive, so I'm gonna link below some of my favorite resources for large scale art. If you have bookcases in your home, you want to try to source those really tall vertical bookcases. Get rid of those short stubby ones that take up half of your wall. Not only do tall bookcases emphasize all of that gorgeous vertical height in your space, it gives you even more room for storage and organization so you can clear all that clutter off the floors. Take a look at your kitchen. Do you have open empty space on the top of your cabinets? A designer trick that I love to use is to create a makeshift soffit. You want to bring kitchen cabinets all the way up to the ceiling to lead your eye up and fake the look of a taller space. Finish the look of the soffit with crown molding to make the space feel even taller than it is. You could also use drapery to make a small space feel larger. At this point, if you've watched a few of my videos, you know how I feel about drapery. The correct height for it to be hung is as high as you can on that window. This method makes your ceilings look even taller, and you can actually fake a small window by installing the rod even wider than the width of the window. Let's say you have a really small 2 feet window. Once you install the rods, I would actually even install it from 18 inches to 2 feet wider than that. And if you did that on both sides, it actually extends the look of the window, therefore making that elevation look larger than it is and not defined by a small little cramped window. And that's it for all of my tips and tricks to make your small space seem larger. Did you get any new ideas from this video? If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Comment below with 3 things from this list that you can do today, and I'll reply with some additional ideas on how you can get started. I also love when you guys give me constructive feedback and suggestions for new videos. I actually really go through this list to see what's most popular and what's trending out there. This small space video was highly requested. I also do get some comments on how to decorate like a really large open space as well, but I'm thinking that more people have smaller rooms than larger rooms, so this is why I tackled this video first. I love chatting with you guys in the comment section, so of course never hesitate to comment and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.